Okay, hello again. Hope I get this thing in here before the battery dies on my little bitty camera. The lighting is again kind of weird because it's night once again, but this is a story that I wanted to share. I think it's kind of important. It's not kind of important, it's very important. And it's not just to the gay viewers that we've got, but specifically to the friends and allies and family of. When I came out, and this isn't the coming out story, that's a whole other story and a whole other cup of coffee, but when I came out I was 34, and I started to turn to the people who were closest to me, and the first person I told was my younger brother, who had come out before me, and then a very, very, very close friend and confidant I knew from church. And then the third person I knew would have to be one of my oldest and dearest friends. And I spoke to him and his wife, and they were very attentive, and it was just, one of those things where, I knew I had to tell them. I mean, I told them before I told my parents, and there's a whole other story about how I told my parents. But it was, just one of those moments where I knew, this particular friend, we'd been friends for over 20 years, since I was a little kid, that, this was someone who had to know as soon as possible. I had to share this with him. Well, over the next half a dozen years, we saw very, very little of each other, and I didn't think anything of it because I'm in the creative arts field and publishing. He's in the creative arts field and publishing. His wife is also an artist. And they travel a good deal of the time. They're constantly out of town and appearing at conferences and art shows and all kinds of different things. So I didn't think anything of it. We lived in the same town. We were 15 minutes car ride away from each other, and we never saw each other. But come on, busy people. And I remember a mutual friend of ours had actually asked me one time. He thought that was odd that we didn't see each other anymore, and he said, "Do you think that had anything to do with you coming out to this friend of ours?" And I said, "Oh, no. He said, you try to put, do you think he's trying to put distance between the two of you?" And I said, "No, not him, not in a million years." Well, 6 years, I was saying half a dozen years, 6 years after I came out to this particular friend, this very, very close friend who I admired so much, I received an email, not a phone call, not a visit, but an email from him detailing why we had not seen each other. I passed it off to the fact that he was very busy. I thought it was great. His business was booming, and he had a success on his hands. No, that wasn't it at all. He went on to say that he deliberately separated himself from me after I came out. The reason being, I lied to him. I was a liar, and our entire friendship was a lie. Every time that we had been together, ever since we knew each other back when I was in the 7th grade, all the way up to life through college and as adults, I was lying to him. And the reason he said this was so many times I got pushed around. I got obscene phone calls. My older brother had legions of thugs that would kick the shit out of me and call me a fag and a queer, and a femme was one of the words we used in the late 70s and the early 80s. A femmer, you're effeminate. A fairy and all this other different stuff, and I would go running to him. He was my friend. "Why do I keep calling me gay? I'm not gay." This whole thing. Well, he said that made me a liar because I was saying I wasn't gay when in fact I actually was. Clearly, I was a liar, and now that's a little mind-boggling, but I can almost understand it. And I was about to say, well, I better call him and talk to him about this. And then I read the rest of the email. There was a mutual acquaintance that we knew. And this fellow went completely around the bend well before I came out. He went around the bend at high speed and on 2 wheels. This guy just, totally flipped out. He embezzled money from his employer, got caught, and then when he had to stand before the court and this guy was going to testify against him, he then firebombed the employer's house while the wife and children were inside. So this is a guy who was a felon, a lunatic, an arsonist, an attempted murderer, and he wound up going to prison. And from the beginning to the end, he professed his innocence. He perjured himself on the stand. I didn't do it, the whole thing. Well, in the email, this friend said I was as bad as this guy because he lied too. He's a liar. I'm a liar. It's the same thing. And I just thought, whoa, wait a minute, cuckoo, cuckoo, that's not right. And it really, really hurt me. And then he ended the email by saying, what, have I got a sign on me that says, hey, be my friend and lie to me? And it was all him at that point. Now, first of all, for those of you who have someone who come out to you and it throws you and you're like, oh my God, this person's gay? You've been gay the whole time? Did you know? How long have you had these feelings? Yes, there can be a feeling of you've been deceitful towards me. But don't take it as if it's a deliberate scheming thing, okay? There's a big difference between hiding and being scared and constantly concealing your identity because you're fearful of rejection and the repercussions. I spent so much time in junior high and high school down in my little basement bedroom surrounded by my comic books and movie posters on my knees, clutching my hands in prayer until my fingers went numb, begging for God to fix me. Okay? That's not the same as trying to deliberately deceive someone. It's not like I walked up and said, oh yes, I'm completely straight. Oh, those faggots, those silly faggots. And then I slipped out the side door and secretly blew the football team. Okay? That's not the same thing. And when somebody runs to you and says, why do they keep calling me gay? I'm not gay. They're not lying. They're scared. They're trying to protect themselves. Now, if a bully is kicking the shit out of you in the hallway and calling you a faggot, what are you going to do? You're supposed to say, ha ha, what a perceptive bully you are. By golly, you figured it out. Aren't you clever? Johnny, tell this asshole what he's won. I mean, come on. You're going to go Garrison. I'm not gay. So, if a person comes out to you, they're not lying about everything that went before. Okay? And I'm going to give you 4 watchwords, all right, that you need to stand by. It's not about you. All right? Never forget that. If someone comes to you and is revealing their identity, they are trusting you. They are caring about you. They are reaching out to you through faith and love that they can trust you with this news. Yes, it can knock you on your ear. Yes, it can be a surprise. Yes, it can even be a shock. Shut up, don't judge, and listen. And it may take you a while to come around. That's fine. It may take you a long while to come around. But remember, it's not about you. It's about them. Okay? That's the important thing. And if you need space, say, I need space to process this, okay? Don't hide in your cave and conjure conspiracy theories for half a dozen years and then come back and attack. All right? If a person comes out to you, it means that you are important to them. You are vitally important to them, and they are reaching out and saying, I am sharing a vital part of myself and making myself completely and 100% vulnerable to you. Don't betray that trust, okay? It's not easy. Whoever said being a good friend and a true person was easy? Okay? You'll be all right.